Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we say goodbye to summer via the Cold Creek Trail en route to the Devil's Peak Lookout near Government Camp in northern Oregon. Along the way, we will see dense forests, encounter graffitied logs, take in breathtaking volcanic views, and experience the previously mentioned and unfortunately people-filled fire lookout. All this and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings, and I'm back yet again on yet another adventure. And today, well, this is probably going to come as a shock to all of you, but I'm up by Mount Hood again. It is just the very beginning of September, which means it's still somewhat summerish up here in the Pacific Northwest, and I can actually continue to access this area without having to get like a dog sled team and navigate the tundra. More specifically, however, I am in the Huckleberry Salmon Wilderness, which is right adjacent to the Mount Hood Wilderness, in case you're, keeping track of said things. And I'm on the Cold Creek Trail to Devil's Peak. Now, why am I on the Cold Creek Trail to Devil's Peak? Well, at the end of this first part of this hike, at the turnaround point, I am going to give you beautiful, wonderful, glorious views of more than likely an old, decommissioned, and probably deteriorating and falling apart lookout. So that's going to be our big reveal at the end. We're going to look at a derelict lookout. It's probably going to be rotten. It's probably going to have like old moldy food in it. It's probably going to have broken windows. We're going to look at it with the camera. We're going to go ooh and ah, and there may be views of Mount Hood, but we've seen that a dozen times. But we have yet to see a beautiful, glorious, rotted lookout this season. So I'm on the way up to Devil's Peak to look at a lookout. All trails, of course, part of the formula where I talk about all trails, list this as 7.5 miles. So it's probably closer to 8 or 80, whatever, because as we know, all trails sucks. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the video so we can, not prolong this opening for 20 or 30 minutes. Trailhead, one other car. When I say I am in the middle of nowhere today, I mean that I'm in the middle of nowhere. Yes, I can still hear highway noises, but you can hear highway noises for like 50 miles around here. I'm at a trailhead that literally had one other car. We can do the introverted math, but at the moment, I'm by myself. Look at this. This is glorious. There's silence. There's weird bird things making noises in the bushes. Because this is Oregon and there's literally regulations that require weird bird things sitting in the trees making spooky noises at hikers pretty much the entire day. Now, the big news is there's a sign at the trailhead that tells you there is a cougar in the area. And it's a Forest Service sign, and there's always it's standard form. So there's always a when was this animal last seen and a blank line, and usually it's like, oh, we last saw the animal in April, we last saw the animal March 14th, whatever. Somebody just penciled in regular resident. So, in addition to being literally in the middle of nowhere, in the the spooky, isolated woods, I'm in the spooky, isolated woods with a murder kitty. Now, we all know that murder kitties they're everywhere. So there's probably like 90 or 100 of them out here. They're all staring at me. They put on their bibs. They have their knife and their fork. I may become Meow Mix by the end of this video. If I do, I'll turn it on and you can watch the process happen. But reality, there is a mountain lion that lives in this area. It's going to hear me ranting into a GoPro and go, oh crap, not that guy again, and get the hell out. But of course, there's tons of fear on all trails. One guy, for whatever reason, on the all trails comments said, well, I hiked this and I saw a bear cub, so you better watch out for cougars. I don't know how that logically connects, but that's where I am today. Those are the conditions I've in. So far, no people, and there's a random rabid murder cat running around somewhere. There's a sight I haven't seen 1,000 times this summer. And, in case you haven't watched the 900 other videos where I'm out, basically in the same view, that's Mount Hood. Right there, that's a volcano. Yeah. Of course, today it's obscured by smoke or fog or smog or, the breath of gasping hikers as they're trying to get their last hikes in right before it, gets covered in snow again. Because we're in September. This is September, and in the Pacific Northwest, basically fall begins like in the July. So, although it's hot today, and it's comfortable, it actually still feels a little bit like summer. Fall is on its way, and up here that means that that thing's going to be like a snowball within a week or two. So yeah, everyone's out doing their last GASP hikes, except for here. So far, it's been nice and quiet. It's been me and the dangerous predator that's out there somewhere and doesn't give a crap about me whatsoever. I'm sure that the cougar has its own little version of a GoPro. It's a cougar GoPro, and it's ranting about that weird bald guy that it's terrified of. The thing that's stalking through the woods. But yeah, so far it's been relatively peaceful. I've got a really nice view. Now, once we get towards the top, it's going to be the lookout. So I'm assuming we're going to get the exact same view of Mount Hood, but higher. That would be my edge, based on all the hiking that I've ever done, the lookouts that I've been to. That's my guess. We're going to be the same view, only a little bit higher. I mean, it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be so different from what I've just shown you. But yeah, so far this is where we are. This is what we're doing, and I'm going to go ahead and head up the trail a little bit more. And I'm still waiting for the cougar. I mean, there is an open invitation this morning. I mean, it's other than wrestling the cougar, it's going to just be me pointing out things that I've pointed out 1,000 times and, talking about how I'm out here by myself. The cougar needs to show up. We need to have a wrestling match. I mean, I got to get views somehow. If I wrestled a cougar, maybe 5 people would watch my videos instead of, 3. But alas, no. The cougar doesn't want to be on camera. I called its agent, and they said, no, it will only do it for like 20 grand. And I don't have 20 grand to wrestle a cougar. I mean, seriously. So you get Mount Hood for the 900th time. Congratulations. Again, really, really worth tuning into this video. This is typical. So, again, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody around. There's not even cougars. I've talked a lot about the cougar so far in this video. Nothing. I'm in this spooky, weird forest with a whole bunch of weird bird things that are constantly making weird bird thing noises. Nobody around. But of course, they've been here. So, some vandal. All right, middle of forest. Down a long road. Just picture this in your head. We're in the middle of the forest. We're on a long dirt road, potholed road. We had to hike up. I'm about 2 miles, whatever, and some change in. Up very steep in the middle of the woods. Nobody around. It's rural here. I mean, it's very isolated. And yet, some assholes, or more than likely, group of assholes, because I'm sure this was done over time, decided to bring out their X-Acto knives and go nuts on the tree. Now, this one here says BK, so I'm assuming they're a big fan of Burger King. I mean, who wouldn't be? I don't love Burger King enough to carve it into stuff, but I can kind of sort of understand why you would, because it's Burger King, and Burger King is delicious, and they have veggie stuff. So yeah, this one says, I heart COLOA. Now, either that's a interesting name that I don't know. I don't criticize people's names, but it's either a really unique name, or somebody really loves soda and doesn't know how to spell. I mean, this could literally be, I love cola. First I thought it said I love colon, but that would be a whole other rant and a whole set of jokes that I'm just not prepared to tell today. So we have BK, and I love cola. So somebody out here just really loves fast food and soda. That's my only explanation for why you would bring an X-Acto knife and carve into it to an innocent tree. I guess there's a peace sign over there, and probably some more stuff. But I got the fast food fan club right here. BK, I love cola. Was it really worth facing natural resources to declare your love of junk food and sugary drinks? I mean, really, do you need to do that? People do know about leave no trace, right? Or in this particular case, leave no advertisements for fast food and soda. Even when they're not here, even when there's nobody around, they're still haunting me. They're still driving me insane. And they're still vandalizing the woods and making asses out of themselves. Well, here's an update. So far, no people. And so far, no cougars, no bears, no porcupine, no beavers, no land sharks, no dinosaurs, or anything else that, may or may not exist in the forest and may or may not want to eat me. So far, it's just been a quiet, beautiful hike through the woods. When the hell do I ever get these? I mean, seriously, I didn't know that this was possible. And I'm right next to a giant major landmark, a volcano, and yet I don't hear any hooting. I don't hear any hollering. All I hear is the wind. Hear that? That's the sound of humanity being dead. There's nobody around. You don't have to think about people's mundane bullshit. You don't have to think about your job or the latest TV show or whatever the hell else humans think is important. You just get the beautiful wind. This is a beautiful, wonderful forest. And at the moment, aside from, me, it is unsoiled by the filth that is humanity. Anyway, this is where I am. This is what's going on. Is this what happiness is like? Is this what actually getting what you want is like? This is weird. And it's so freaking weird that just, okay, what the hell bad is going to happen? I mean, honestly, that's what goes on through my head when I'm in a situation like this, where it's actually, this is happiness. Peaceful, windy, beautiful, and no people. Absolute happiness. So what the hell is going to attack me? Is there a tree going to fall on me? Is there an asteroid going to hit me in the top of the head from, outer space? Are aliens going to come and abduct me and make me watch Fox News? Something terrible is going to happen. The universe does not, just by a general rule, doesn't really want me to be happy. It doesn't want me to be in tremendous amounts of pain, but it wants me to be uncomfortable enough I can continue making entertaining, funny videos. Funny, in quotes there. So what is nature about to throw at me? I don't know. I don't dig this being alone in the forest thing by myself. I'm suspicious of it. There's something going on. The universe is plotting. Maybe it's the universe and the cougar out there. And maybe I am going to have to wrestle a cougar. And maybe I'm going to have to wrestle a cougar, a bear, and a land shark at the exact same time. And that maybe that's what's going to happen. Or maybe I get up to the lookout and there's like 90 people camped around it, and they're all asking me, hey, good morning, how are you? I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, folks. Because it always does. And it always falls on my head. Well, there's another view for you. I don't know if this one is closer or not, but it's a little bit more unobscured now. You notice that the smoke or the smog or whatever it is, I actually think it's gotten worse as it's gotten warmer and, you know, progressed in the morning. But yeah, right there, that big rocky looking thing, that's a volcano. Right there. There you go. In case you didn't get it from the first time I did it, or the first 20 times I did it on my other videos. There's Mount Hood. We are in the wilderness. We're not quite to the lookout. The lookout is up in that direction. I'm assuming, I don't know, this would actually have been a good place to put a lookout, but instead they just put a viewpoint. So, there's a beautiful volcano in front of me. And you know what else is beautiful? I'm almost to the cool thing. I'm almost up to the lookout. Still haven't seen a single person. Now, I say that that's a great thing, but you know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go up there and there's going to be like 14 tents all set up. There's going to be tables. There's going to be booths. There's probably going to be a school bus on the other side because there's another road that goes up there. And it's going to be full. There's going to be people everywhere. There's going to be people in the lookout. There's going to be people on top of the lookout. There's going to be people under the lookout. They're going to be tunneling in from like who knows where. That's just my luck. That is my luck. Now, I will say, even if that does happen, at least I mean, look at this. Completely quiet. Completely wonderful. And it can be that way because it's completely people-free. So let's take one last look at our beautiful volcano, our beautiful, hazy, foggy volcano. And we're going to head up to the cool thing. And I don't know. It's a coin flip at this point. Is it going to be as quiet as the rest of the hike has been? Or is that road that goes up to it? Because you can get to it. It's like a half-a-mile hike from some road to get to the lookout up there. I'm doing it the hard way because, you know, I'm cool and buff and this is what cool people do. But, you know, it could be a freaking school trip going on up there. So it's a mystery. And with my luck, it's going to be awful. But at least we have Mount Hood. Well, it's just my luck. So I made it up to the top. The lookout is right there. And for the most part, it is indeed a dilapidated, fallen apart, you know, decommissioned lookout. I go up the stairs because, you know, of course I want to film up there. I look around the corner. My first people of the day. I was hoping, really hoping that that's where the cougar lived and that, you know, I'd turn the corner and I'd just get eaten. That would have been fine, but no. There's people. There's people camping out in there. There's people like with sleeping bags. So just goes to show you that, you know, the forests can sometimes be booby-trapped. You turn a corner and boom, people. You know, you overturn a rock, boom, people. I mean, I'd prefer a rattlesnake, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, you don't get the courtesy of a deadly poisonous snake. You get people. So, yeah, there's the lookout. There's people in it. And honestly, usually they put lookouts where there's really good views to, you know, look out over because, you know, back in the past they used to use these for fire spotting. I guess the trees grew, or maybe they're just looking out for, you know, pine cones or something. I don't know, but this is a terrible place. Where we were a few minutes ago with that nice view of Mount Hood, that's where the lookout should have been. I don't know. I don't understand the Forest Service and their selection process, and it may have been different when that thing was built, probably in 1905. So, yeah, I made it to the lookout. 2 people up there. Now what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm going to turn around here and I'm going to go look for deadly predators and then go home. Get in my car and drive really fast as the cougar is running behind me trying to eat me. And try to forget what I saw on the lookout. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but there were people. That's a trauma I just can't get over. Well, I am back here at my beautiful, lonely, isolated spot in the middle of the forest. And guess what? Aside from the gremlins that I saw up at the lookout up there, I'm back in no people land. This is still, pristine. It's quiet. It's beautiful. It's relatively people-free, except for the lookout gremlin. Aside from that nightmare show, now I am firmly back into the meanderings of the woods phase, which is pretty much the end of every single video. Every single video, I end up walking through the forest, talking to the camera, and half the time I don't have anything to say because it's the forest. And what am I going to say? Well, there's a down. You know, I could do a play-by-play. Oh, look over here, audience. There's a down tree that apparently has been here a while because it's a little bit old. Now, if you look over here, there's a broken tree that may be part of this down tree here, or it could be part of this tree. I mean, as exciting as that is, and I'd be damn good at it. I could never be a sports commentator, but I can talk about dead trees all day long. In the long run, I don't think that would work. So, most of the time, I have nothing to film other than, you know, the forest. Not a lot to talk about. So I am at that stage. But that's okay. Because being at that stage means there's no people. It's glorious. I mean, let me reiterate. Aside from the gremlins at the top, oh, it's heaven. But heaven can't last. And all good things have to come to an end. So I'm going to keep meandering down this trail. I'm gonna hope that the cougar doesn't decide to, you know, jump me and take my wallet and bite my head off in the process. And I'm gonna go back to my car. All right, let's middle-age this thing. And let you go up here, extend the selfie stick. Now let's see if my spine can survive this one. All right. Okay, all right, I gotta get my leg up. Oh boy, my knee, oh, hurts, oh, pain everywhere. Okay, there's sharp things that can poke me, and gravity hangs things a little bit lower when you're older, and I really don't want to get it snagged on anything. Okay, oh, I think something just popped. I think my hip just died. Oh. I survived. Not well, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to take some aspirin, but yeah, I survived. Welcome to 45. Well, let it be known that the solitude was broken. I saw one more person. But my count for murder kitties that are trying to eat me, still 0. So I kind of wish it was opposite. The count of, you know, soul-sucking human vampires was 0 and murderous, you know, kitty cats was 1, but it is what it is. Luckily, however, they passed fast, and my soul is now beginning to heal. It's okay. The trauma will pass with time. But yeah, they went up to the lookout to be with the other gremlins, and I'm down here. I'm gonna keep going. Hopefully, a people-free environment is waiting. No people, but there may be a cougar. I still may get to wrestle and or possibly saddle and ride a cougar by the end of this video. So stay tuned. According to wonderful, beautiful, always accurate, and never wrong all trails. Don't mind me, I'm just trying not to die here. I am about a mile or so from the trailhead, and thus about a mile or so from my ability to get in my car and deny the cougar an opportunity for an easy, you know, bald, chubby, fleshy meal. So I thought it was a good time to do our trail rating for the day. We rate the trails on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst possible thing for an introvert, and that is Disneyland on the 4th of July. And that is a time in which the crowds have gathered, people are screaming, things are blowing up, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto are all in the trenches. They have called in reinforcements. The planes are coming. Buildings are exploding. Churros are flying through the air. Children are screaming, wanting to go on the Matterhorn. The Matterhorn is literally on fire and sinking. I mean, it's just utter, awful, chaotic bombardment. And the worst possible thing for an introvert. It is introvert hell. Now, on the opposite end of that scale is introvert nirvana. And that would be the middle of a field in Antarctica with just you and a trained, sentient, and bloodthirsty army of penguins who are willing to defend the solitude from any stragglers who might just happen to be bouncing through the snowfield. You know, it's a nice summer day, but it's still snowy. So your solitude is basically guaranteed there. It's just you and your human flesh-eating penguins out there hundreds of miles from other people. Nothing but pure bliss and solitude. And that is introvert heaven. So on that scale, this particular trail is actually pretty close to the rabid man-eating penguin point. It's about an 8 or a 9, probably an 8.5. You know, I did unfortunately see a couple people up at the lookout. I saw one other hiker the entire time going up that way. And of course, those events were traumatic and awful and horrible. But they were isolated. I didn't have anybody screaming. I didn't see kids. I didn't see, you know, people letting their dogs off the leash and running to the floor. I didn't see any of that usual crap that I complained about. I saw none of that. It was nice. It was quiet. It was beautiful. And it was peaceful. So that leads me to the misery index. It's a scale of 1 to 5. And this is about my misery, of course. 1 to 5, with 1 being absolutely no misery whatsoever, which of course is fiction because, I mean, you've seen me. You know me by now. I mean, if you haven't, you just binge a couple of my videos and you'll understand. I am always miserable to one degree or another. There is never a point where I am not in some form of misery. So a 1 is a pipe dream. The opposite end of that scale is a 5, which is the most painful, horrible, terrible misery that I could ever experience, which is usually, you know, being around other people or actually having to talk to somebody. But these Oregon trails, Pacific Northwest trails, often force me to break that scale, and it just explodes all over the place, and I'm at, you know, usually like a 10 billion. However, in this particular case, there is no need to explode the scale. There is no need to break the scale. There is no need for the 10 billion. I have been at about a 2.5 with the little spike, you know, when I walked into those weirdos in the lookout, and when I saw the random dude walking through the woods. Very tiny spike. But aside from that, this has been perfect. I've been at my, you know, default, which is about a 2.5. It's been quiet. It's been peaceful. And I haven't wanted to scream and, you know, cut down trees and hide in a pile of wood, you know, until the people leave. And I'm free to, you know, run back to my car and get the hell out of here. No, this has not been that type of hike. This has been a very peaceful, very kind hike. And think about it. This is what happens when you remove people from the equation. Happiness springs forth. So what would happen if an asteroid removed humans from the planet? There'd be some dancing bears and there'd be like clapping walruses. All the animals would be like, yes, they're gone. But alas, unfortunately, we live in a world that is overrun by the virus that is humanity. But at least for today, I seem to have inoculated myself against that virus because this has not been a bad hike. But yeah, that's where we are on the trail rating. That's where we are on the misery index. And I'm just meandering back to my car. I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna go up the gravelly, potholed road and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I'm gonna go home and hide into my house for the rest of the week. Does that sound like a plan? Well, there you go. A cougar was reported seen in this area on regular visitor. So it, you know, it has a little park pass. It comes out here whenever it wants, gets free parking. It has a little pass, and you know, it cruises around these trails and it says hello to all the hikers, and then it eats one of them. Well, not really, because that's not how cougars operate, but we got a little bit of fear mongering as I come to a close on this hike. So I have made it back to the trailhead, and thus, by extension, I have made it back to my wonderful, beautiful Prius, which I'm currently looking at right now. So that means it is time for us to say goodbye. But before we do, let's do a quick recap. So today I hiked the Cool Creek Trail up to Devil's Peak, and more specifically up to the little dilapidated, torn apart lookout that sits on the top of Devil's Peak. It's falling apart, and unfortunately, when you look inside, there's people. So we got to see campers or other hikers or whatever the heck they were. And I also saw another hiker going up towards the lookout. So there were, unfortunately, a couple of people out here. But overall, what I saw most of the time was solitude. I got to see some beautiful forests. I got to see some beautiful views. And unfortunately, I didn't see any cougars whatsoever, but I did get to see green ferns, beautiful creeks, and all the stuff that, you know, you miss when there's 1,000 people going behind you, and all you want to do is just run as fast as you can down the trail, get in your car, cower, and then get the hell away. Well, there was none of that today. It was a nice, quiet, and peaceful hike. But alas, it is time for us to part. And it is time for me to say, as I always do, stay introverted, everyone. And you know I'll see you on the next adventure.